Hi, I'm Celine from Perkins Dry Goods. Today I'm going to talk about choosing fabrics for the Barnstar's sew-along. And I've got the quilt here, and you can kind of see that there are a variety of fabrics in this quilt. We've got blues and reds and golds. That was my choice of color palette. This is all very reproduction, Civil War reproduction based. That's not to say you couldn't do whatever you wanted. I've talked to people who are thinking about doing more of an Amish feel with maybe a black background and more jewel tone fabrics, or you could certainly do batiks, or, you know, there's nothing that says a barn has to be red. So I'm just going to start with the background. This particular background is Marcus Fabrics shirting. I think it works really well in the quilt. You could do scrappy backgrounds, but sometimes when everything else is going to be busy and I want the blocks to pop, I use a consistent background, and that allows the blocks to speak for themselves. The other group is blue, and you know, I probably used 5 or 6 different blue fabrics, and they ranged from a dark blue to more of a medium dark, to then maybe a lighter, more of a gray slate blue. I would just gather your scraps. You're going to need a variety of fat quarters. I like to use a different fabric in each block, but that is really up to you. You can use the same fabric in multiple blocks if that's what you prefer. Then the reds. When you're looking at your reds, I find that for the most part reds play pretty well together. But here you can see they're more medium to dark tones. This is got a little bit more burgundy in it. But I like to use fabrics that are maybe a small to medium overall print, so that you don't lose them in the block. They show up. So here we've got real pretty, this is a Marcus Fabrics Inkwell by Judy Rothamel. Now I'm not going to know all the names of these fabrics because a lot of them are really old. Here's another one, Marcus Brothers. I'm not seeing, oh, this is a Pambuda Homespun Quilts, yes. She has a lot of really good, if you like Civil War fabrics, her collections are wonderful. And then just a couple more reds. This is a little bit dark, this is a little bit more brown in it. So just pull things and kind of lay them out and step back and take a peek at them. See if you like the way they look together. Then we've got a few accent spots in the quilt that I used a gold. You could use a different color, but here's a selection of yellow to gold to orangey type fabrics. In the stars, I used, let's see if I can move this a little bit. In the stars, I used 2 different fabrics just so that the points and the centers would stand out from one another. Again, if you wanted to make them all one fabric, that would be totally fine. In the barn, I don't know if I can get this in view. Here we go. The barn, I used a gold contrast to outline the door frame and the crossbars. Now this is actually machine applique on these triangles here. I thought it was easier to piece that in, but I don't want to give away all my secrets before we get to the block. So anyway, that's the basics on choosing fabrics. As far as equipment that you need, there are no special rulers required for this pattern. Your basic 6x12, 6x24 ruler would be perfectly fine. I do use some shortcut techniques throughout the different blocks, and each block stands alone in the pattern. If you already have it, you'll see that the cutting for that particular block is self-contained in that block page, and the yardage tends to be a little generous. Thanks for stopping by.